It might be over. Turn hard books into easy books with Magibook. Maximize your reading potential and avoid difficult language today. Hard book, The Great Gatsby. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. The easy version. When I was young, my dad told me something that I still think about. It's not even the same message. It's not even the same message because the core part of the message is advice. And you might be thinking, oh, but who cares? Well, it's really important when you have people that cannot read and they don't understand the language they use. Because language, it's the engine we use to communicate ideas. So it is important to have a proper skill with it. I have a pretty interesting tweet here. Everyone's 12 now. Well, to be fair, when I was 12, I could read this. Maybe not in English, but you know, I could read this message and completely understand what was going on. And you might be thinking, okay, how bad can it be, really? Is it really that bad? Is this AI? Is this technology? Man, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's not looking good. Gen Z students are soon prepared for college. The college professors have started reading aloud to them. College! Not middle school, not high school. It would be unthinkable back in my day for something like that to happen already for middle school. We have college students that cannot read properly. If this is not a failed society, I don't know what it is, but I don't like it. Yes, students are arriving at college with such feeble reading skills that some are incapable of even comprehending full sentences, forcing professors to start reading to them aloud in class, according to a shocking new report. I've criticized before the education system because I'll make it meaning why must we have mandatory reading for school? And some people, like teachers and whatnot, say, but you have to understand, if we don't make people read here at school, they will not read at all. I hate to admit this, but they were right. Oh my goodness! What? Instructors at universities across the country, including top programs, detailed reporting how they have had to change their curriculum and teaching style to accommodate their Gen Z pupils, or more focused on TikTok than printed text. Okay, alright, that's a nasty jab. I don't think it's necessarily wrong or false, but it's a nasty jab. They're having an inability to critically think. Jessica Hooden Wilson, a professor of great books at Pepperdine University, told Fortune. It's an inability to read sentences. She's forced to read passages aloud in class together and analyze them line by line. She also said she needs to circle back on the poem and days during the semester, she said. I feel like I'm tap dancing and having to read things aloud because there's no way that anyone read it the night before, Wilson said. Even when you read it in class with them, there's so much they can't process about the very words that are on the page. I said this before today, and it was in reference to this. Functionally illiterate. And they get into college? Are we sure I'm that stupid? I don't think so, pal. I don't think so. Not because I didn't go to college, but because I'm older, I guess. Even at Northwestern University's Kellogg School of Management. They allow their cereals there, I bet. Which is among the best in the country, and half of the students every semester describe themselves as novice or reluctant readers, one professor revealed. That's insane. And sure, wow, you're one to talk, you don't read a lot anymore, yeah, sure, but I read a lot when I was a kid. And I think I have a proper understanding of language, several languages even, and I understand what I read. Sometimes I need to read twice, okay? Sometimes I might chug while reading, but it happens to everybody, okay? That's me trying to be a little bit too fast. Can you blame me? Maybe you can. First, check this out. To generation glued to phones, video first social media apps, and AI summaries. I mean, AI summaries is kinda new technology, but it's a potential problem, sure. You're not actually reading the thing. If you're making a summary of the things you need to learn, you read everything at least once, and if you write it down, well, writing down is actually really good for learning. If you let the AI do it, it's not as effective. even if you read the AI summary many times, it's not as effective. Writing it down is really useful. By hand, not by typing on the computer, okay? I would say that typing on the computer is still a positive, but there are levels. So most of the applications that focus on standardized testing and scanning text for key details has shown students of the skill to read deeply and at length. Yes. Yes, that is true. That's the problem with these really powerful tools. I don't think they're bad by themselves, but to use them properly, you need a level of skill. The thing is, they are using this technology as a crutch, and they are never developing the skill, which is a detriment for these people. What are you gonna do? Let's say, in a year from now, you have to do some sort of project for college. I don't know how it works. Just making stuff up. And suddenly you don't get access to AI because the AI is down. Oh boy! Somebody's failing. Somebody's failing because you never developed those skills. And I was not a good student, okay? Usually, I got carried by my my innate stats. That was a problem at some point too. But this is even worse, okay? This is even worse. Because they probably don't have the base stats to get away with it. They've been formed in a kind of scanning approach to reading. University of Notre Dame theology professor Timothy O'Malley told Fortune. The shocking lack of reading skills coincides with the study from YouGov that indicates that almost half of Americans didn't crack open a single book in 2025. Ooh, did they crack open a book last year? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe not a physical book, but I read a lot of stuff. I read a lot of articles here. I get also some leisure reading on my own too. So it's supposed not that bad in comparison. And more so, depressingly, Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 said the reading urge of 5.8 books in 2025, the study shows. Actual reading? I don't think so. Get a book. What? I don't know. 5.8? I just don't believe you. American students are used to using AI to give them clips notes, which often miss the nuances and the biggest points of the reading. Because maybe AI is still not quite there. Even if it was, it would be a detriment, because you're not getting the skills you need. Which is the whole point of going to school. He said early in his career, he used to sign 25 to 40 pages of reading for each class. The students would either come to class prepared or not. I mean, yeah, you have to read through, you don't. Or part, I guess. Today, just sign an amount of reading. They often don't know what to do. O'Malley said, what do you mean they don't know what to do? So much of pages you need to read. Just read it, Lamau. It's called the reading method schooling, but some professors are leaning in. Abilene Christian University theology professor Brad East insisted that when teachers worry less about grades, students are more into reading. I mean, traditionally, I guess. Nowadays, I'm not so sure. It's important to me to have stress-filled cumulative exams, nor do I particularly care about creating inflation in still fortune. I want them to learn, which is the objective at the end of the day. But some people just forgo that. Oh, it's all about the grades. No, I don't care if you got the perfect grades, if you're still an idiot. Well, soon the Pepperdine professor noted her students at her current college are better prepared than other places she's taught. Well, it's okay, I guess. But she fears the lack of attraction to reading will have consequences, besides respectable grades and a good career, claiming literacy helps build community. Literacy. Yeah, see? Those are the types that talk about, media literacy on social media all the time. They don't understand what they read. But how do we know that? They're usually on the younger side. And usually you read the same thing and you're like, oh. Yeah, no, you don't know how to read. That, it's not saying that at all. Please. Please, I beg of you, go back to school. But for real this time. I think losing that polarizing anxiety, loneliness, and lack of friendship, all of those things happen when you don't have a society that reads together, she said. I mean, reading is really important because, at least in this case, it's how you impregnate yourself in the culture. Might not be necessarily your national culture, but might be shared set of values, customs, and to some extent still culture, right? You might be American, for example, but reading German philosophy could be interesting, right? As a quick example, that's really rough. People apparently cannot read anymore. So I guess selling yourself to the AI overlords is a way to go, because the AI will tell you. So you're now delegating your thinking and understanding process into something else. And I don't think there's just an AI problem. This has been happening for many years, way before AI was a thing. But as usual, it's only getting worse. And this has kind of an easy fix in schools, right? If they use AI summaries and didn't get the correct information when they go to the exam, the test, or whatever, they're gonna fail because they didn't understand the thing they had to read. Therefore, they will fail, they will have to repeat years and whatnot. You have to do that. If people are too stupid to pass the grade, you cannot pass them for free. Okay? That's a bigger detriment. Because you're saying you don't care about education and you don't care about your young people. The young people are the future. And if you're just breeding a generation of illiterate clowns, it's only going to come back to bite you in the ass. Which, we all participate in society to some extent, so maybe that's kinda bad. But what do I know?